Yo, welcome to Coastal Connection and Embrace the Power. We have Sara Hurrle on here, a former female bodybuilder on the show. Me and Mike G gonna welcome you to the show.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so you're
Thanks for
hailing out
having
of
me.
Colorado. Oh yes, so you're hailing out of Colorado. How is the weather, my girl?
Oh, what you talking about? It's 72 today. Come on.
Got Tampa-like weather. Hey, so Sara,
That's right.
you transitioned from female bodybuilding and then you started fitness and I caught it on Instagram when you were doing things from home during COVID because everybody was searching for how to get a workout in. So let me ask you a question. How many years did you compete and what made you make a decision to transition to the fitness world and just be like the bomb you are with your website that we'll go over later and some links on how some people can reach out to you to get that virtual workout. So let me hear you.
Oh, how many years did I compete? Man, I don't even know those things because I've been in the industry I've been in the fitness industry since I was 15 years old. I don't know.
Wow.
I think I started competing when I was 29. So I was no spring chicken. I'm 46 now. Truly, I would say just this last year, I've transitioned because I competed, I don't know, 10 or more years. Ended up third in the world, of course. I had my son.
Third in the world.
Third.
Hey, right there you go, right there. So I ended up third in the world, but after not competing on stage, I still was. I was hosting events across the world, so I kind of felt like my foot was still in the door, with bodybuilding and all of that. Just recently, I really have had to bid goodbye to it and really make that transition as a 46-year-old mom and businesswoman. It's just priorities. There's only so many hours. Being the best in the world takes an incredible amount of focus. There really isn't anything outside of that. And truly, to be the mom that I want to be the businesswoman, to be someone that wants to, you at some point you want to take that spotlight and turn it on to others, and I had my time and I feel like I did fairly well. And now I want to really focus my energies on my son and, of course, the women that I work with.
So sometimes you don't feel like working out, do you?
Sometimes, do I always feel like working out?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I mean, you're a professional workout. I mean, sometimes.
But we are human. And I think that's the important thing, right? This is more of 31 years of consistency, of ups and the downs, as a female as well. I think male, female, your body changes. What's important to you? I'm not going for the 6-pack right now. I'm knocking on the door of 50. That's not, what my goal is. And this is something I walk through with my clients as well. Because your definition of what health is and your priorities around that, the amount of time you're willing to spend, the sacrifices you're willing to make, those things change. And I remember when I had clients and I was in my 20s, right? And they would say, having ice cream, with my child was like a moment. And I was like, yeah, buckle down. I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to that. But, now with a 7-year-old son, that is very true. And I don't want to miss those moments. And, getting up, being depleted, all of that stuff. It's just not what is a priority to me anymore. And this is a conversation I have with my clients because I think it's important to think about as we get older or as your priorities change. What does health mean to you now? And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I want to be pain free. I want to be able to, get up, move around. Like it's not the same anymore,
Oh, so Sara, this question I have is, okay, so, in the modern era, social media is such a driving force for women right now. And I saw the trials, the things with Zuckerberg, and they're talking about how women, young girls are impacted by social media to have this perfect body. I mean, it's kind of like the 90s and the 80s when everybody thought you needed to be pencil thin because that's what you saw in the magazine covers. So as you're in your industry now, what are some of the struggles that even women in their 30s are struggling with because social media is saying that, you know, like housewives or whatever, right? This is what you're supposed to look like. Do you ever deal with any of that with your clients?
I deal with it myself.
Wow.
I mean, listen, I started lifting when I was 15, and what I felt in the gym, it was a critical time for me from what I was going through, maybe at home, in social setting, at school, you know, all of that. And absolutely. So I felt strong. And when you feel strong, when you feel proud of the work that you put in, right, that correlates to every other aspect of your life. But I cannot imagine being, and this is something that I'm passionate about in the coming years, to create a program. I have a former client of mine that has, you know, 1 million followers, and she's very, very passionate as well. She's in her early 20s, and we are looking at creating something for young women, because it's not just young women. I have my 40-year-old clients, my 50-year-old clients. We are showcasing these highlight reels. And I got to tell you, I try to be as transparent as possible, but and people will look around my office at all the photos. And I'm going to tell you the one that I'm most proud of. And that is the photo shoot I did 10 months after my son. You can take all the competing, you can take all of that, but you know what? That was done as a mom. That was done on the confines of a balanced approach. I wasn't restricted. I wasn't miserable, right? I was raising my son. It was a new identity for me. So that's what I'm most proud of. And it's challenging. I try to be transparent with some of the photos that I post, because people need to understand what is behind that. What is that person doing to get that? What does their life look like? I'm going to tell you, when I was competing, people in the locker room, you know, I'd be in the locker room and they said, I want your body. I said, and every time I said, you don't. And they would be shocked. They're like, no, I do. I said, okay, right now I'm doing 2 hours of cardio a day. I'm lifting an hour and a half. Every single thing that I put in my mouth is weighed out. And quite frankly, I was eating way under what I should have been eating.
Wow.
I had no life. Every relationship I entered failed because I was a one-pointed focus. So absolutely, social media is negatively impacting people, their self-worth, what they believe is possible. You know, I joke because I'm friends with Dolvet Quince, who was the trainer on Biggest Loser. I tease him all the time. I said, y'all screwed everybody up as far as what is realistic to lose, right, in a week. But social media is very similar.
Right.
It is the whole picture or the whole story or what is behind that image is not being told. And it can be very destructive. I don't care what age you are, but I definitely think in the younger, you know, ages, it can be very challenging. It's challenging for me.
Wow.
Question. So I try to tell people this. Do you have to stay in the gym for 4 hours?
Do I?
No. People like to work out over and over and over hours, and I say 1 hour, 30 minutes maybe.
Right now, absolutely. If you want to be the best in the world at a very extreme sport, that's not how we live, breathe, eat, everything. But right now, listen, I start my clients out at 3 to 4 days a week. It doesn't have to be every day. It has to be intentional. It also, I will often have clients, you know, share, you know, what do they want to look like? What do we want to achieve? Right. And I try to be very clear, you know, clients, I don't know why this 125 with females is always a thing. I said, listen, I can get you there. This is what it's going to take. And often they're like, oh, okay, maybe 135, you know, right? So I think, and, you know, back in the day, same thing, people would talk about walking and this, that. You have to find movement and that you enjoy that you're going to want to do, that where you're not going to hurt yourself. You know, it has to be bigger. And there is a mental health component as well. You know, I stress this to people. Yes, I will give you a very effective workout. However, there are some days, you know what? Going for a walk, getting outside is one of the best things that you can do.
Wow.
So that has really changed for me as I've grown, as I've become a mother, as I've had some of my own struggles, especially coming out of, or I don't know if we're out of, you know, COVID and things, you know, is doing things because you love them, and for the mental health component, and to get outside and to have some fun.
All right. So Sara, this is the thing what I would like to ask you is this. You brought up COVID, and as you saw the transition, we saw our society, right? You couldn't even go in the Walmart or Target and find any gym equipment because everybody became a home gym rat, you know, just to be able to get a workout in. So when you saw that, how did you launch from having to be at times that you would be at the gym training people, and then you realize, wow, you know what, I got to change my platform. So how did you evolve in such a very dynamic environment when we're during a pandemic? How did you, you know, morph your business or evolve your business?
Well, Vince, if you must know, I had actually already done that.
Okay.
So for about 2 years, I was already doing online training. So
Right.
I had my own app. I was already doing live workouts, just not as much. I had kind of, you know, like I said, so I just transitioned. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was doing 3 workouts a day. I was ripped from home. And it was a big turnaround for me from the standpoint. I always would say to my clients, you need to get in the gym. You need to get in the gym, right? They would say, I'm doing these, you know, home workouts. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah. I would make fun of them. I would. And then when that's your only option, I'm going to tell you, I was in the best shape I've been in a long time. And it's such a reminder, you don't need anything.
Right.
And that's, you know, people, I don't have this, I don't have that. You don't need anything. There is so much free information out there. Right. And this is where I often will say this, to, like, you don't need it. People on vacation. I was on vacation. Oh, you can't walk. Right. You can't do push-ups.
Okay.
You can't do sit-ups. You can't.
Right.
And see, this is where when you start showing and, you know, that mirror to people like, hey, I have seen amazing transformations. I had a client, one of my best transformations ever, and she competed during COVID.
Wow.
And this is where you start to go, where there's a will, where there's a way. So you got to understand there are resources out there for you. You can pick up your water bottles, your gallons of water. You can do your soup cans. And, you know, people, and I would, yeah, that's right, Mike. I would joke about these workouts. Do one. Get back to me. That's my challenge to you too.
Okay.
You can even do a 20-minute. Do one of my 20-minute workouts and then report back.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do that because now, you know, me and Mike are always trying to stay after things. Hey, Mike, you got anything?
So, pretty much, we're going to end that conclusion where you don't have to work out 5 hours, right? That's what I meant to say. Like,
okay, you want me to summarize? No.
Yeah, because I tell people, listen, man, 30 minutes to an hour, that's all I can do. You guys got 2-3 hours.
Can we talk about the real important component here? Anybody? You want to answer that? You know what the real component is?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, I'm going to say it's twofold. Actually, I'm going to put working out as third.
Okay.
Number 1 is mindset. If you do not change what's happening between your ears about your body image, about what it takes, about how you view food, about how you view working out. Listen, nothing's going to change. I tell people this, I can write you the most effective diet plan. And listen, there's a ton online. Has anybody followed them? Okay. Then number 2, there's all kinds of workouts online. Don't tell me you don't have time. Don't tell me you're not at the gym, you know, all that jazz. Okay. what you have to change is the conversation going on between your ears. And that's why my company name is Inside Out. And, you know, I'm 17 years sober, and the biggest tools, or I would say the biggest difference in the programming and what I do from a coaching standpoint, is changing the way people think about themselves, changing the way they think about food and movement. And if you don't change those thoughts between your ears, this is temporary. So that's number one. Number two, like I was alluding to, is what you put in your mouth. So I've had many clients with amazing transformations. You're talking 30, 50-pound transformations with no exercise, very little. Nobody wants to hear that, of course.
But is it because they changed their diet?
I might be looking at you. I might not, you know.
So is it because people change their diet? You know, my grandfather used to tell us that old saying, well, your body's your temple. Whatever you put in your body, that's what your temple's going to look like. So you're going to have a big house, a little house, or a medium house, depending on what you put in the temple. So I still remember that old saying from back in the 70s. And, you know, there's a lot of truth to it, though. You know?
Listen, your grandpa was correct. When someone comes in my office, honestly, it doesn't take me much time. I know what's happening.
Wow.
You know, there's under eating and stalling out of metabolism. You know, of course, there's the emotional relationship with food for a lot of women. It is very different for women and men. I do train men, quite a few men actually. And there very much is a different relationship. I'm not saying y'all don't struggle with it, but it's definitely different, the emotional relationship with food. And that's, you know, it's very similar, like I said, to when I got sober. So if, you know, many people, it's sunny out, I want to eat this. It's cloudy out, I want to eat this. I'm happy, let's go eat and drink this. I'm unhappy, let's eat this. And when we have that, we're celebrating, right? I tell clients all the time, they say, oh, it's my nephew's birthday. What's that got to do with nothing? Did you get him a present? You know what I mean? Did you go to his party? You get him a present, you say happy birthday. You don't need to eat the cake. But we have this, you know, relationship. We use food to celebrate. Oh, somebody's sad, go bring them some food. Oh, somebody's birthday, bring them some food. And then, I mean, look at this in the grocery store. Oh, yeah. Right? I mean, they take down the candy from Christmas or, you know, Halloween, then we got something else, and we got something, you know, it never ends. So that's, you know, truly changing what's going on between your ears, changing relationship with food. You're not a dog. You don't need treats all the damn time.
You know, so you brought that up, the relationship with food. But here's the thing, is that the United States has a high diabetic rate issue, and it has at a younger age. So they were having this discussion with another fitness person, is that you look at children now, children that are 10 years old are type 2 diabetes. So, I mean, from a cultural standpoint, we are actually having a lot of challenges because of the marketing. And now you have a lot of commercials and they say, okay, promoting that it's okay to be big. But here's the problem, is that they don't talk about the health concerns. And then during COVID, we're saying, well, if you're overweight, you're going to struggle with certain things during when you're sick. So we don't really like to correlate forms of certain forms of obesity to medical or to fitness. When you look back 20, 30 years ago, people were very fit and, you know, got out. But then again, we didn't have video games in abundance. We didn't have cell phones, social media, and all those other things. So now what you're looking at is, if we don't get ahead of this, Sarah, we're going to have a problem with, like you're talking about Quincy, his generation is going to have an issue if they don't start addressing it now from some kind of point of view. And what's your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree more. And I take this very seriously. And, you know, right now on social media, the going thing is TikTok and this and lip sync and point in the air. Listen, I don't think this is funny. I'm not dancing around pointing in midair, lip syncing to try to get clients. Okay. Like, this is serious. And this is something that needs to happen, and it starts from, you know, the parents. You know, oftentimes I will talk to my clients, and they say, "Oh, I don't eat that. I give that to my kids." What? You know, you know what I'm saying?
Why are you
And
giving it to
it's
these
interesting.
kids?
Yeah, don't give it to your kids either. Okay, right? And so 100%, it's the lack of movement. It's the lack of whole foods. Quincy knows if he wants to have a treat, he's got to have something good, and then after that, he can have something, right? The other day, I don't know if you guys have crumble cookie out there, but I was
Yes,
like,
we
hey,
do.
I'm from Minnesota, so I am very programmed food wise. I grew up on Burger King. I grew up with lots of cheese. We drank our faces off. I mean, I did not grow up with, a healthy kind of, it just wasn't, and it wasn't as big of a deal back then either. Right.
Right.
I said, I catch myself like, hey, it's Thanksgiving. Should we get some of these, crumble cookies or a treat? He's like, Mommy, that hurts my belly. No, thanks.
Well, that's a cheeseburger all in itself, because you get the chocolate chip, man. That's about 1,000 calories, but they're good.
Chocolate chip. It doesn't matter what you get.
Which so I try to stay away
Yeah.
from the crumble cookies myself, because they're addictive, but they are. But Sarah, so here's the other thing I'd like to ask you though. So you made a transition and you actually posted something on your Instagram, which I thought was interesting, that you were talking about breast implants and some of the challenges that you've had since you had an augmentation. And so a lot of people in my audience don't know about it, but you made a really good, profound Instagram post about it. And so I'd really like to hear what you got to say about that. And I think we got somebody. Also, all right, just check, because somebody was saying something about the cookies on the chat, but it was
yeah, they're talking about the crumble cookies. Listen, I love the cookies too, but listen, I'm not saying, we just got to balance that out. Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, with breast implant illness, I never thought I'd be here. There's a few levels to this. Number one, I got breast implants about 11 years ago, and I do regret that I ever did that. I have short hair. I was carrying a lot of muscle. I competed. I turned pro without them. I was encouraged that would be more feminine, more sexy, etc. Listen, I always loved that I basically had pecs. I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was sexy. Okay. I love my short hair. People made fun of me since in the second grade. I felt sexy. Okay. I'm sad that I allowed an industry to sway me. Last year, after breastfeeding, last November, I was having some problems with the current ones that I had. I had them replaced. I've never had these symptoms with the first set that I had. So I would see people post and I thought, geez, that's horrible, right? It's not my story, but man, and I'm going to tell you, I've had many transitions from getting sober to, now this, and I feel that this has been placed on me to allow me to share with my community, with other women. First of all, you are beautiful just as you are. And I'm going to tell you, saying yes that is one thing that I regret. I don't have a lot of regrets. I'm going to cry over here, but
that's all right.
I tell people, even I'll say to my clients, they'll say, I want to get to this weight. Okay, well, this is what it takes. And they're like, well, I can't do that. I say, oh, good. Well, why don't you try loving yourself then?
Wow.
Because it might be cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Second, so last year I got them replaced. At that time, I actually asked about removing them. I said, I really don't want them. I was kind of encouraged, like, of course you do. You're in the industry, kind of like, what would that look like, kind of thing, right? So I got them replaced. If you can look back to photos from that time, I was in the best shape of my life at 45 years old. Wow. And jumping around in my living room with some dumbbells, no joke. And so I got them replaced. after a few months, there was these symptoms that I would have inflammation. I have inflammation at the end of the day from my knees down. It's painful. It's not, I don't have, a lot of people ask, I don't have physical pain in my breasts. I have fibromyalgia type pain over my entire body. I started to look at my hormones, at what I was eating. There are certain things I've cut out caffeine. I mean, if I need support on anything, it's that. I can't do coffee because it's like neurological. It just amplifies the pain. It makes it worse. Any type of dairy, I've cut out beef. I mean, I feel like I'm doing everything I can to manage the pain, the inflammation. My hair started falling out. There's an anxiety, a bit of an anxiety with it as well. And it's taken about 8 to 10 months for me to understand and piece together what's been going on. And that's why I think it's so critical for people to speak out and to talk about this, because I had no idea. And just like other people, I was scrolling and I started pausing because, again, this was not my story. And thankfully, other women are sharing this information, and I think sometimes when we share this, people think we're trying to be whistleblower. We're trying to help other people that are struggling that maybe don't understand. Because I was pulling out my hair, but trying to figure out, I was looking at everything.
Wow.
The other difficult part is, the medical community. This is what I don't quite understand. So I signed 42 pages talking about the risks from breast implants. I'm not blaming anybody. Okay. However, I signed 42 pages with all the risks, and now you're telling me they don't believe in breast implant illness.
Wow.
Say what? That doesn't add up. So, yeah. So and I will be, it's been challenging. I am in an industry that is based off what you look like. I'm 46. I'm not 26 anymore. Right. And then to have this on top of things has been challenging. It's also challenging to not know exactly what's going on, to kind of feel crazy, to have to kind of piece all this together. So.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point that this industry is about how you look. And so that's I think that is the driving force, and one of the hardest things that people don't understand is as you are in the fitness, everybody goes, well, you have to have a certain look. But I don't know if people realize the hours and time and dedications it takes to keep that look, and I feel bad for the younger generations because I see a lot of challenges on it. So before we wind this down, I'd like to is there any advice you would like to give out to women in general over your journey and your travels? Because me and Mike have had a great time talking to you, but we definitely want to hear what advice you could give before we depart.
The biggest thing that I do in my coaching is daily check-ins, weekly check-ins, monthly check-ins. It's very important to check in with yourself. What am I doing? Is this aligned with who I am? With what I believe in, with where I'm headed. And the more you can do that, it really is an internal approach. I believe women know more than they think they do, but the noise of it all gets very loud. It gets very loud and we get very lost, and it's pausing and looking within and starting small, make a few choices right here and there. Continuing, never giving up.
Yes.
I've had many ups and downs in this journey. So staying strong and continuing to just keep getting up and doing the best that you can each day and aligning with what believes and what feels right to you.
Awesome. Mike, you got anything, man?
Hey, it's the truth, Sarah. You're very on point with a lot of things you're saying. I love it. You got to believe in yourself. You got to put that work in if you want to see what's going on. But sometimes we have brick walls in front of us, and you don't know what's going on in here with people. So you're right. Yeah, it's like a broken puzzle, and you're trying to put the pieces together. But that was real.
Yeah, fitness is much more than just the external, and
Correct.
I will say on social media, there are some people, they're really trying to be transparent with it, and I really applaud those particular folks for sure.
All right, so Sara, I appreciate you coming on Coastal Connection and Embrace the Power. I do appreciate it because you laid out some good information. Hey, if anybody's out there and you want to get in contact with Sara, all you have to do is go to her website, check her out, drop her a note. She will actually respond and get back to you. And you keep that kid playing football and all those sports, because every time I see you posting, he's just grinding it out. So he's gonna be playing for the Broncos one day. I'll be his agent.
Yeah, he don't want to play for the Broncos. He's the Broncos,
49ers,
he's a big Tom Brady fan right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Hey, but Sara, as we always say when people come on the Coastal Connection, keep it rolling. All right, all right, and have a great one, guys. And it's been awesome. See you later.
Thanks, guys.